What's going on, everybody? Soliaka here, and I'm going to give you a public service announcement about a stupid law that I just ran across. There's going to be two different statutes that you're going to be looking for. They will be in the video itself. One specifically says that all the letters and numbers, expiration date, state, all that stuff cannot be obstructed. The other one says if you, I guess, do anything to the tag itself, that is against the law. We're going to get into this video so that you can understand how crazy this law is and how police will enforce this law on you, which I don't agree with. I don't agree. Like, you're going to see. It's just be careful. If you've got one of these little license plate tag holders or borders or whatever you want to call them, if you have one, I would highly suggest that you get rid of it, because it may end up with you getting pulled over and then you having to deal with whatever else they suspect you of. All right, so let's get into this video. Don't forget, hit that like, share, and that subscribe button, all that good stuff, and I'm gonna get out of here so you can enjoy this video. Soliaker, deuces.
We have discretion as far as what laws we have to enforce for traffic. Said, you know, if some law enforcement officers, if they wanted to pull you over based on that for suspicion of something else, that gives them that first reasonable stop. And I might suspect you of drinking and driving, right? But if you don't violate a law, I can't just stop you just on my suspicion. Can I stop you based on that? Yes. But what we would do is pull them over to see if anything else from that initial stop led to something else.
Right.
Make sense?
I get you, man.
What's going on, buddy? Soliaker here, and I'm here at City Hall. The police department's there. City Hall's right here. And I think there's a building administration or something around here as well. But anyway, I got pulled over last night. Get out of the middle of the road. Got pulled over last night about a violation of law. And we're going to go through this real quick. And that right there, that doesn't look compliant. That's dark. Out. And that right there, that's a violation of law, because you cannot see the Florida, and that's what the violation. And we'll be showing my tag and the way it looks. And all that good stuff. And we're going to go through here around City Hall and see about some of these government employees and see their vehicles and see if their vehicles are in compliance with the law and why they aren't being violated. What's that? I'm an investigative journalist, and I'm doing an investigative issue, and yeah, I'm just investigative. Pretty much. I'm just here to document some things that like this license plate over here. This is in violation of Florida law. This one over here, this is in violation of Florida law. That's all I'm doing, is that I'm
Is that one?
Yeah, that one's in violation of Florida.
Mine. I just got it.
Yeah, I know. It came with that little emblem right there, right? I'm sorry. I'm trying not to document you, because you're not my issue. But anyway, I got pulled over last night because they said that little border is
from the auto place.
I know. I understand. I've got a vehicle too. My vehicle is right here. And I'm not joking. If you wanna, I'm not trying to, like I said, I'm not trying to document you. But if you can see, this is where I had my emblem. All these dark spots right here, this is where my emblem was. But I got pulled over last night and they said this is a violation of law. And you can see that car. You can see that car.
Well, they shouldn't even tell us that.
Hey, that's why I'm an investigative journalist and I'm trying to document it. I'm about to go see the mayor's car. I'm about to go see a bunch of other public officials' cars and see about their.
But this isn't it.
And I'm not sure. This is a city employee's vehicle. City employee that's supposed to follow law. And that's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at. This right here is what I got pulled over for. This right here. And that's what they're trying to say is against the law. And now we have a city employee. This one right here, I'm sorry about the sun. I'm going to keep it down. But if you can see right here, I'm blocking it as best I can. This one is for the city manager. City manager right here. Once again, that's what I got pulled over for, is for this right here. This little outside part of the vehicle. Now this one, I would believe this is in compliance of law because there's a holder, but it exposes the entire tag. So this is a license plate holder. Well, this one is obscuring as well. Not in compliance of law. Not in compliance of law. Not in compliance of law. Or this is another city employee. Once again, it's that right there, same thing. All that right there is just once again another one. This one's all decked out. This one's got some glittery. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, it's got all the nice glitter on it. Another one here. Here. You got a Bernie supporter. Feel the burn. Another one right here. Not in compliance. That one actually blocks Florida. That one's definitely not in compliance. This one over here, it has, if you can see it right there, it has that same thing there. It's more not in compliance of law. Okay, what state you're from, what state, the expiration date, and your tag number. And once again, this one's not in compliance of law. Not in compliance of law. Not in compliance of law. I mean, like, some of these are really bad. Cover up Florida. Not in compliance of law. This is illegal. That's what that officer was saying. Next vehicle, not in compliance. This one has some Art Deco on it, some doggy prints. Not in compliance. That they can't do this. Not in compliance of law. Not in compliance. Not in compliance of law. That's a pretty cool, gun U30. That's pretty cool. Not in compliance. You can't even see what state he's from. Not in compliance. Not in compliance. Not in compliance. Alright, this one, not in compliance. That is illegal. From what I was told, that is illegal. Not in compliance. This one is illegal. They cannot do that. From what I was told, they not legal. They cannot do that. Is good to go, or this one is not in compliance. This one is illegal. Not in compliance. Not in compliance. This one is not good. Not in compliance. Not in compliant. this blue line is not compliant in federal. So anyway. Yes, I need to speak to somebody about two different Florida statutes. Only because there's probably like 30 or 40 cars out in the parking lot that are either city officials or in that nature, and I was pulled over for that same violation, and I don't know why they're not enforcing it right here on their city grounds. No, the way their license tag is how you can see it. Yeah, I'll be right outside, so I can show them. I want to walk them through it. Thank you. What's up, man?
How's it going, sir?
How you doing?
All right. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm living the dream, man. Living the dream.
I hear you.
All right. There's two different statutes. 316.605, licensing a vehicle, blah blah blah. I want to understand these two vehicles right here. There's more. I've documented at least 30 or 40 inside this city hall. One was the city manager, and I'm trying to understand if this one right here, from what I understand, is not in compliance of law, because Florida is taken away. You can barely see any of this, and regardless, but from what I understand, under 316.601, I believe, I'll pull that up later, state has to be visible, this has to be visible, and expiration has to be visible, correct? We'll go to this one. This one is more in compliance of law, from what I understand of these two different statutes.
Okay.
Florida is visible, expiration, number, and tag. But I was just pulled over because I had a border around my license.
So are either one of these vehicles yours?
Neither. I've been walking around. I've got a couple city vehicles that have that same little outside border around there, and I'm trying to understand. I've already contacted my lawyers about the law specifically.
Okay.
But do you enforce that law?
Me?
Because everybody. Because if you're law enforcement, you're supposed to enforce all laws. And I was.
We have discretion as far as what laws we have to enforce for traffic.
Right.
And we can give a warning, we can give a written warning, or we could actually cite you.
Right.
So if you're asking me, do I enforce that? No. Do other officers enforce it? I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
What
I
the
met
exact specifications for it is, I don't know, because I don't enforce it normally. I would have to read up on it, and I could get back to you and let you know. But if you already have a lawyer looking into it,
well, I've got lawyers, and I've got the two different specific, like 316.605, which is making sure everything about, because what I get about it is going through SunPass, Easy Pass, or whatever.
Right.
They have to, if you violate that, they have to be at this point, if this car was to go violate it, they couldn't. At this point, the only thing they do have is this.
Right.
Everything else is marked out.
So I believe and again, I'm not specific on the law because I haven't read it, but I believe what you're saying is they don't want you obstructing necessarily the actual digits of the license plate, because like you said, if you went through a SunPass violation, that's how they.
Or if you got behind me,
or if I got back behind you and I'm unable to read the plate. But something like this, as far as me personally, as a
personal thing,
I look at this, I can make these digits out. I'm okay with this.
Right.
Could another officer say, yes, you're violating, for something covering the state and the county? Possibly. Obviously, this needs to be exposed also, because I wouldn't know whether or not your tag is valid or invalid.
Correct.
Based off of that.
Correct.
So,
and those are the three, from what I understand, those are the three main criteria, is that the state, the expiration, and the number. The county, because some say, say in God we trust, down on the bottom.
The idea behind that, obviously us living here in Florida, I know what a Florida plate looks like.
Right.
If that's covered, you might not know the state.
Right.
So yeah, they would probably want
And that's
the state identifiable,
and
the
that's
digits identifiable, and any expiration date identifiable.
and that's in
So could you be found in
this
violation?
one. This one.
Correct.
Yes. This
that
one.
one.
That
Probably
one
not.
probably not.
You know, I would think not. But again, like I said, I
and
don't really.
and that's the hard thing. I'm trying, like, I've taken it off the vehicle that I
Okay.
drive, but that's like, you know, what that does is, you know, for me, I hate to get into it, but I do carry firearms, and I've had my own run-ins because I do carry a firearm legally. Everything I do is legal,
Sure.
but I've also at the back end of it, you know, the way I've been treated because I do have that firearm, because of something simple as this, and because it's not enforced. Like right now, I'm about to try to do a statewide thing where, you know how like where I have on my pistol brace, it was certified by the ATF.
Okay.
These companies that are creating this
Right.
would actually have to create something that was like, this is certified by this state.
By DMV. Or,
This is
yeah.
not. This is
Right.
nothing personal against you. This is me
I know what
trying
you're
to.
saying.
I'm
Right.
trying to gather information
Right.
so that if I do take it to that next level, which
Right.
I probably will.
Well, I know
It's
even
a-
for a while there, they were selling those things. It almost looked like a tan cover over it,
Right.
and that's really what it was for.
And
to
I
stop those photos from being taken and things like
Absolutely, and I actually saw a government vehicle that had a blacked out. It was a darker plastic piece that was still
Correct.
visible,
that. Correct.
but it was blacked out.
Correct.
And from what I understood about the law, that is illegal because it does alter the visual.
And again, I would have to read up
And
on it
it's-
to know whether or not.
and I know
what's
this-
legal and what's not legal.
These are, but
But yeah, could
from
could
what
this
I
be considered against that rule? Possibly. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't.
this one, yeah.
I would-
That the other one, no. And the other one, that's what
That one
mine
seems
looked
to be
like.
okay.
That one's what mine looks like. This
Okay.
is, and that's why I had, like, that's why I wanted to show you the two comparisons
I got you.
to say, hey, I don't know what's legal, and obviously you can't answer it definitively because you don't really enforce. Long as you know that you can run this and you
That's good for me. you
and
know?
and
Right.
it was just for me.
Could I enforce it?
You
I
can.
would, I would read up on
It's
it.
a
before I
Florida
did enforce
statute.
it. That's
It's a
what I'm
Florida
saying. I
statute.
would read up on it before
Right.
I did, but I don't necessarily enforce it. I'm happy. Me personally, I'm happy with seeing the digits, seeing the tag.
Right.
You know,
And it lets you
yeah.
know that, hey, they're still within X
Right.
amount of dates or
You know,
whatever.
and that being said, you know, if some law enforcement officers, if they wanted to pull you over based on that for suspicion of something else, that gives them that first reasonable stop.
And that's
So
the,
you're-
that
they're well within their
that-
rights to do that.
but that's an issue because when, like, in my instance, I was at a 7-Eleven talking to the clerks and saw the guy pull in. He pulls into the pump. I'm pulled in a parking spot. I back out. I go to leave. He does a loop-de-loo to get behind me. But when I pulled up to the stop sign, I let him pass. I pulled out behind him. He went up to where I live. As I pulled in, he had to do another loop-de-loo to get behind me and lit me up as I pulled into my parking spot.
Okay.
He already had something out for me. At any point from the 7-Eleven, he could have stopped me. He could even approach us. Like I said, I was just sitting there talking,
Right.
and
Well, like I said,
my
I can't-
concern.
I can't speak
You
for what
can't
another
speak- yeah.
officer did.
Yeah,
or
I know.
didn't do.
I
But
just
was he legal in what he did do? If your plate was obstructed like that, yes. You know, just like I'll be honest with you, if you come here, so you see this hanging from the rear view mirror?
yeah, that's an
That's
obstruction.
illegal. Can't
Yeah,
have that.
obstruction.
Would I pull you over for it? No. But if I maybe suspected something else going on and I didn't make my initial stop, could I stop you for that?
Right.
Absolutely.
And
So
that's those are the apples and oranges that we deal with. Is like, you know,
well,
as
you know, the thing is this, and if what you're looking for is not to deal with the police at all, ever,
stay inside.
no, not stay inside, but make sure that you're up to date on everything, and know that if you have that hanging from your mirror, take it down, and if you have that obstructing your plate, take it off.
Yeah,
And you know what I mean? So
but those were the two different statutes, and
that's what I'm saying. Like,
and
if,
that's
as much as you wanna, let's say, have your freedoms to do what you want, also know that you better make sure you're crossing
all your T's
T's
and
and
dotting.
dotting all your I's, because
Trust
things like that, could you be stopped from? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well,
Trust
we're
me,
well
man.
within our rights to do that. And then if that leads into something else, our initial stop was legitimate. So,
Right. No,
you
I
know,
get
if
it.
you're not looking to get stopped by the police,
Yeah.
Make sure your car is pristine. Read up like
Yeah,
you're trying to do,
yeah.
and make sure you're following every single law.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
that's
whether
all.
that be jaywalking, spitting on the sidewalk, anything.
Whatever thing. Yeah. No.
You know,
and that I do fall like sure. Do I break some stupid like laws that like you said don't get enforced? Yes. Every now
so
and again.
they don't get enforced
all the time.
due to our
Discretion.
Discretion.
Right.
If we feel like enforcing them, we can.
You can.
And you might think of it as picking on you, but
It's a
technically, I
law.
can enforce that.
It's a law.
And I
get it.
have the right, believe it or not, to enforce it on this car, not enforce
And
it
that's
on that
and,
car.
and that's
We have our discretion.
right. And
that's what
and
discretion allows us to do.
And that's the hard
so for
part.
you to say like, well, I was singled out, you might feel that way. Is it possible? Maybe anything's possible, but it might not be the case because just because you're telling me this vehicle has it, I don't necessarily have to enforce it for that vehicle.
There's a city manager right over there parked in a spot right now that has the same thing. Actually, I think it's almost like this one,
Okay.
where it covers more.
Right.
And that's what it's going to be more is like a public service announcement. That's what this is all about. Is
I got
to
you.
get information out because
So
I
you know
don't
what
want.
you do?
I'm.
You know
Trust-
what you do? Invent the license plate holder that doesn't
I'll-
block anything.
at
Market
this-
it as the only one that's
legal.
legal. And then when you're a millionaire, let me know.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure I'll sell you one or two.
There you go.
You never know.
You never know.
All right, man. Like I said, this was just more of me trying to understand because
I got you.
this was a perfect
Best
prime
thing to do
example
is, right. Best
of
thing
what?
to do is read up on the state statute. Talk
Yeah.
to your lawyer. You say you have a lawyer.
Yeah.
Talk to him. Be guided by what he tells you. And then
Yeah.
if you have an issue, like any citation, you're more than welcome to take it to court and
Right,
fight
and fight it,
in court,
and that's the
so,
those
even
are
that.
the
Were
things.
you written a citation?
I wasn't written a
Just
citation.
given a verbal warning.
He's like I don't enforce. He tried
Right,
to
that's
explain.
what a lot of guys do. They don't.
It's
enforce
just
minimal things like that.
It's like if you're not going to enforce it, don't pull people over.
No. That's not true because listen. So that's why certain things are on the state statutes. So we can initiate a stop, initiate an investigation, and then we have our discretion to say, hey, you know what? You're not doing what I maybe first suspected you of doing. But the reason I'm not just pulling you over randomly because we can't do that. That's against the law. I can't just stop cars for no reason.
Hear
You
ya.
have to have a reason. So if my initial reason is that, I don't necessarily have to write you. And again, with that being said, knowing that some of our own department vehicles have it, why would I write you for something like
Right,
that?
and that's-
Now, if I got up on you and you had an open alcohol container in the car or you had something else in
Absolutely.
it, that would be what I would enforce. And then the state attorney would ask me, well, what was your reason for your initial stop? That was my reason.
That's your probable cause.
That's
right,
my problem.
and I get the
So
probable
that's-
cause.
So
It's
that's
just-
why, like, when you say, well, it's not fair, I got stopped, and the city manager has it. Well, listen, it's not. It might not be. You might not think it's fair, but we didn't cite you for it, and we wouldn't cite the city manager for it, and we wouldn't cite anybody for it. But what we would do is pull them over to see if anything else from that initial stop led to something else.
Right.
Make sense?
I get you, man, and that's what I basically got out of the same conversation
Right.
I had with the gentleman or
Right.
the officer, and I'm like, like.
So your opinion is, well, then why pull me over? His opinion is to conduct a
Right.
further investigation of whatever
Whatever
he might have.
whatever he thought he had
Reasonable.
in
But we have that initial
Right.
reason for stopping you, which is legitimate. So we're allowed to.
I get you, man, and
All right.
and I try to understand it.
Even
Yeah, I'm
me,
just
I'll tell you a lot of times what I
the-
stop people for is a tail light out. Do I necessarily write them a citation for that? No. But it gives me an idea to check out with everything else, make sure everything else is good, and then I let them know for their own safety too. Because if your brake lights are out or tail lights out, some people won't see you. But me, I understand that. I don't get in my car and do a full inspection of my car to make sure all my lights are working every day. So that light might have just went out this morning.
right
Now, we also have the ability to write you what we call a written warning. And then if you get stopped 2 weeks later, you can see, hey, he was already told about this. You've had 2
No,
weeks to write that.
fix it.
Now I
Now
might
it's a
give
ticket,
you a
right.
citation where...
And I told the officer, I'm like, I carry taillights and headlights,
Right.
backups
Yeah.
in the vehicle because
That's great.
it's happened before, and
Sure.
I'm like, hey, if
How
you give
else
me
would you-
5 seconds, it'll take me. I pop
That's
the
what I
hood,
would do. I would allow,
and if
and
it's
you might have
instead of
another
going
officer-
through the fix-it ticket thing,
You might have another officer who writes you the citation, even though you have the,
backups,
I can't,
right?
I can't speak for
It's-
what everybody
it
does.
is
You know,
discretion.
why they did it, but we have discretion. That's allowed.
But
by
there are a lot of things that I know I do right, and that's why, like, Port St. Lucie knows who I am. I won't lie; they know who I am, and I'm a big, firm believer in the Second Amendment. That's why the same thing: dot your T's, cross your I's.
Absolutely.
And I dotted my T's, crossed my I's, and the whole time.
Well, don't do that.
But-
dot your eyes and cross your teeth.
Yeah,
Don't do it the other way
yeah,
around.
yeah,
That'll
yeah.
just look silly. And I wouldn't be able to read.
But
it.
yeah, because you'd be like, "What's this guy doing?" But you know what I mean. I mean, it's
I
just,
Something
but it's
that-
just
Excuse me, I'm Terry.
nice to meet you.
Supervisor.
I go by Mike.
Mike, nice
Mike.
to meet you. I just want to add something too,
Sure.
just because of something you said earlier. Understand our offices are our vehicles, patrol. And what I try to tell people sometimes, just some of the things you said. This is generally not our number one
Yeah,
focus.
this
it's
is not.
obscured tax.
Yeah, yeah.
But you don't understand like what he was when he was saying we might stop this one, not that one, vice versa.
There's
You
a
don't know
reason.
what's going on in that radio.
Right.
That's definitely probably more of a priority than an obscure tag.
You.
So they might be getting that, and if you see another car where you're like, why me, not them, or
Yeah.
you
You
understand?
have a rough job.
Something might be going on.
You have a rough
much
job.
more
I'm not
important.
gonna sit here and
We're gonna
fight you.
bypass that.
I
just want you to think about it.
I do.
A
And
lot of people.
some of the things I've gone through,
Nobody likes to get.
I don't.
pulled over.
This is not nothing. I don't. I give everybody,
That's
every
food for
person,
thought, man.
every
That's it.
person gets the benefit of the doubt until the rights get violated.
Right.
And you know, I always tell that even to all my subscribers on YouTube. I tell them like, and they're like, oh, that's everybody has a different outlook on law enforcement.
Absolutely.
I try to have a positive until the negative, and once the negative, then it's hard to go backwards.
Absolutely.
You know, I try to go positive until.
Yeah. Listen,
And
we hope
that's
every
why I'm
we
glad
hope every
I'm.
encounter goes like that.
Yeah,
You know?
that's
And
why I'm glad you
sometimes-
got here talking with me because I'm
Sometimes
trying to
we're
understand
the ones
it.
that make the encounter go wrong, and sometimes it's the public
Oh,
that makes the encounter go
absolutely.
wrong.
It goes
So,
both ways.
You know, it could happen, but just so you are aware, you know, where you might feel like you're getting singled out because you like this. My sergeant was describing you. You see your car obscured, they stop you. The next car they don't stop. It could be
I know.
a myriad of reasons why they pick one over the other, but just know that it would be a little more awkward if they stopped you, wrote you a citation for it.